Hi, my name is Dennis Brager. Here at Brager Tax Law Group, we do one thing and one thing only. We represent clients who have tax problems with either the Internal Revenue Service or one of the California state taxing authorities, such as the Employment Development Department, the Franchise Tax Board, or the State Board of Equalization. This video is part of a multi-part series on foreign bank accounts and foreign bank account reporting. The first thing you need to know is what is an FBAR and whether you need to file one or not. An FBAR is simply an acronym for Foreign Bank Account Report. The FBAR is an IRS form, a special IRS form called TDF 90-22.1. The purpose of the FBAR form is so that the IRS can track the international flow of money in and out of the United States. The idea is that by doing this, it can reduce tax evasion, track drug smuggling, as well as international terrorism. Up until around 2008, although the FBAR form had been around for many, many years, most people didn't file them even though they were supposed to, and the IRS did very little about enforcing the FBAR rules. In 2008, the IRS went after UBS, the international bank based in Switzerland. They filed criminal proceedings against UBS, and under that threat, UBS agreed to and did turn over the names of approximately 4,500 U.S. individuals who had so-called secret Swiss bank accounts. The question is, who must file an FBAR? Every U.S. citizen and every resident of the United States, that includes legal residents and even those who are here illegally, are required to file this FBAR with the IRS if they have a foreign bank account or other foreign financial accounts, such as a securities account, and that account at any time during the year has more than $10,000 in it. Let me point out, it doesn't matter if you live outside of the U.S. If you're a U.S. citizen residing overseas, you're still required to file the FBAR form. There's no special exception for you. Let's assume your uncle in France dies, and he leaves you his apartment in Paris. After 6 months or so, the apartment is sold, and the proceeds of the apartment are placed in an account in your name. 3 days later, the French francs are turned into dollars and you're mailed a check. Well, even though you only had a bank account in France for 3 days in your name, assuming that there was more than $10,000 in it, you're required to file an FBAR with the Internal Revenue Service. Another example, let's say you move to Japan. You take a position with a US-based company in Japan. You move your family over there, and you live over there. Well, it's not any surprise that you would open up an account in Japan to pay your bills, whatever they happen to be. As long as that account had more than $10,000 in it, you're required to file an FBAR with the Internal Revenue Service. There's no exception simply because you happen to be living overseas at the time you had the foreign account. One final example. Let's say your grandmother, who lives in Israel, is getting on in years, and she's decided that she would like to leave you the balance in her securities account when she passes on. In order to make that simpler, she simply adds your name onto the securities account. Even though you don't consider that money to be yours, even though the money was deposited in there by your grandmother, and even though you've never taken any money out of that account, if your name is on the account, or even if you're just a signer on that account, you're required to file an FBAR with the Internal Revenue Service. When must the FBAR be filed? In general, it needs to be filed on June 30th of each year. There are no extensions available, so unlike a tax return, you can't file and wait until August 15th or October 15th to file this FBAR. The FBAR does not get filed with your tax return. It goes to a separate place in Detroit, and that filing date of June 30th that I talked about, The FBAR must arrive there by June 30th. It's not enough to simply have it postmarked by June 30th. It actually has to arrive at the IRS on or before June 30th.